What's the went through med school just to realize you couldn't stand the sight of blood of your job field? Had a teacher in my nautical academy that found out he was chronically seasick. Friend went to become a vet tech before realizing she was allergic to cats, grew up with dogs only. When I get really angry enough to feel an adrenaline spike, I have trouble speaking. Every word is a legit physical and emotional struggle to produce, and it all comes out in a low, growly voice. I am a lawyer. I'm in law school, and recently realized that I hate reading boring shit. It's going great. Went to school for firefighting, had a classmate drop out because he was afraid of heights. Got a master's in engineering to realize I hate sitting at a desk all day. I went to massage school with a girl who realized she didn't want to touch people for a living. Sound engineer. Am sensitive to loud noises. Should have thought that one through. My brother-in-law went through seminary and got a job as a youth pastor, only to find he absolutely could not speak in public. He does construction now. My friend applied to be in the RAF. Failed the medical because he is colorblind. This was the first he knew about it. He was 21. Went through a rather longer apprenticeship learning how to cut meat just to figure out I couldn't stand the cold of the cutting room. Toughed it out long enough to get promoted to manager so I didn't have to be in it if I didn't want to be. Many people become a lawyer only to discover they hate practicing law, because they didn't really understand what that meant when they went to law school. Law is very boring, involves a lot of rote work which has little practical effect on a case, and is ultimately soul-sucking. Being a lawyer involves very little grandstanding in courtroom. Many lawyers never do that. Even trial lawyers, like you see on TV, only get a couple trials a year at best and some go years between trials. The only kinds of lawyers in court every day are criminal attorneys. I work in an art museum. I love art, love all of the community outreach the museum does, all the programs for kids, veterans, cancer patients to have a creative outlet. But I hate talking art. It's so bullshitty. Not every person that has an exhibit is going to be a genius, sometimes, rarely, but it does happen. The artist is a true hack, whose work required little to no creative thought, dedication of time, or new ideas. And you look like an asshole if a patron asks what you think of the art and you don't shit your pants over it. You're expected to go to every gallery opening, which is basically every night, even though everyone forgets what was even on display 2 weeks later. But the amount of times I've heard, "You haven't gone to the Bone Farm? You haven't seen JoJo's installation of cut-up pants? How many hipster galleries do I have to pretend to give a duck about?" Started my own freelance business, then realized I hate people, I hate kissing ass, and I hate stressing about clients paying on time. I work in a pathologibacteriology lab, so basically if you're at all squeamish, you've got no chance. I took swabs from a chunk of necrotic tissue on my second day, and I'll never look at fried mushrooms the same way again. Got a master's in psychology. Don't like people. What a bunch of bastards. Spend years learning about electricity and circuit design only to discover you are colorblind and can't determine which wire's which. I had nightmares in college about failing lab finals because I had been afflicted with spontaneous colorblindness. Going to film school, then working on a reel set. Learning the hierarchy and the unions, many moving pieces, and politics really makes you start to hate the industry and really turns you off. Ask a person in film TV production, how long have you been working in the industry? Most people's response? Too long. Edit. Wording. Has anyone said chef afraid of knives? Chef afraid of knives here. Human resources. Went through school to realize I couldn't lay someone off. Honestly, terminations for cause are pretty bad, but at least they did something to cause it. I'm talking about downsizing. Edit, typo. I was dead set on being a video game developer. Started in QA, saw the endless hours of crunch, the devs working 80+ hour weeks without showers or shaving, smelled the funk of hundreds of unwashed bodies, the crossed fingers at reaching publisher milestones for bonuses that would hopefully make it all worthwhile, and the constant fear that they wouldn't get picked up for the next project so they could keep getting paid and keep making mortgage payments. Decided that I'd rather be in systems in lieu of development and never looked back. Graphic design. You design for clients, not yourself. You don't get to have a bunch of fun making goofy shit you like. Edit. Some of you are lecturing me about the nature of graphic design. Lol. I know. I'm a designer. I love my job and my colleagues, even Sharon in accounting that has no taste. I have good days and bad days at work, just like everyone else. My comment is about those bright-eyed college kids who can't find work or lose interest because they realize that being a designer is a job. You're often at the will of your employer or client, and you can't just make cool things anymore. Your job is to solve a problem and make sure it's on brand with whatever your client wants. It can be a hard pill to swallow for people that think graphic design is all fun and games. It can be. But in a professional setting, it's most likely not. I teach English to kids aged 3 to 9 in China. I can't tell you how many people I've met while teaching abroad that either can't stand kids and/or constantly complain about how the country is so different from their own, considering being able to handle children and adapt to new surroundings are two of the biggest requirements to do the job. Teaching as a whole. The burnout is real, especially for high school, middle school. 150+ students a day, lesson planning, 9+ hour days, work at home, etc. A lot of people just stick with it 4 years due to teach grants, or if they can make it the 10 years so that their loans are forgiven. The empathy fatigue and burnout is real. First-year teacher, but I love it. I just see it everywhere. Edit. The oversight is implied by the initial post include, not liking children, not realizing the amount of time and effort needed to be a teacher, realizing I actually want weekends off and my nights, realizing you don't actually get breaks as the stigma states and you have to prep, grade, and create lessons on your time off, realizing you care too much, which breaks your heart when you find out one of your children are abused, physically or sexually, realizing you actually can't survive on the income by yourself. It goes on and on. As everyone has commented on the thread. Just wanted to add that, and since there is some negative Nancys out there. Major in journalism. I'm antisocial and I live under a rock. Spent a lot of time honing my voice and manner skills because I seem to have a talent for customer service. The only problem is I figured out that I hate people in general. Being a mover, we would frequently go through new hires that can't hang. You would laugh at how many times we've walked into a house and the new guy goes, "We have to move all of this?" And I go, "Yay," twice. Or when a customer asks to move one thing again because they found a new spot, or there is a couch at the new place to move, I see people just get disheartened and annoyed. Bitch, that's our job. You're here to move people's things until they do not need you to move their things anymore. You are also getting paid by the hour, so STFU. Moving attracts some amazingly hard-working and kind people, and also bottom-of-the-barrel digits. Every day is interesting. Lol. Edit. Instead of commenting "thank you" 100 times, I just wanna say it warms my heart to read the nice things you all are saying about movers. I'll read every reply. We don't usually have the best of reputations and it's refreshing to hear people appreciate us. So thank you all. Terrorists. Quite a few pilots that are scared of heights. I own an in-home childcare. I hate germs, boogers, poop and messes. Well, I'm a phlebotomist, so. Never had anyone who ended up not being able to stand the sight of blood, but have had several people who couldn't do other specimens collected or received in a lab, urine, stool, sputum, etc. Also people who were surprised that most of our draws would be kids, The elderly, chemo and dialysis patients, all notoriously difficult draws, and thought everything would be exactly like it was in school. I've had new people in the hospital when I was there tell me they won't attend the code blues because they can't see anyone die. Like, it's a hospital. People are in bad shape and die in it. Going to school for vet nursing or veterinary med and then realizing you are scared of certain animals like mice or rats at it. You also have to be able to separate individual behaviors of individual animals from the whole species. Inevitably you will be scratched, bitten or injured by a stressed animal. I have several scars, but I separate those experiences from other animals of the same species, and I've also learned how to handle and read their body language better. Even small animals like rats and mice. Thrilled about all the responses. It is a challenging profession and not everyone is able to go through putting animals down or having to cause a bit of pain to heal them in the end. So many people don't finish the degree, but that's the same with many professions. Love you, Reddit.